In this training video, I will teach you how to answer competency-based interview questions. If you have a job interview coming up soon for any role or company, make sure you stay tuned. By the end of the video, I promise you, you will be able to answer competency-based interview questions with confidence. And just very quickly, if you are new to my YouTube channel, please make sure you hit that subscribe button right now. It makes it far easier for me to help you. If you are subscribed, please hit the like button and don't forget to tell me the name of the job you are applying for in the comment section below the video, and I will give you some extra tips to help you pass your interview. Okay, let's get straight into the tutorial. In the first part of this training video, I'm going to teach you what competency-based interview questions are. If you understand what the questions are and their purpose, you can give top scoring answers. Competency-based interview questions are designed to assess a candidate's skills, abilities and behaviours to predict how they will perform in a job role. That is why when you answer competency-based interview questions, you must demonstrate you have the right skills, abilities and behaviours to match the competencies being assessed. Now, in the next section of this training video, I will teach you a really simple 4-step structure to use whenever answering behavioural interview questions. Please make sure you write this down. The best structure to use that is recognised by all hiring managers for answering competency-based interview questions is the STAR method, STAR. Whenever answering one of these interview questions, you begin your answer and you talk about the situation you were faced with. You then move on and briefly tell the hiring manager the task that needed your attention. You will then give in-depth details of the action you took to achieve the task, and then you finish your answer with the results following your actions. And you should always make sure the result is a positive outcome. So whenever answering competency-based interview questions, please make sure you use the STAR method. In the next section of the training video, I am going to tell you what the most common competency-based interview questions are, explain which competencies are being assessed before giving you top scoring answers that use the STAR method. Competency-based interview question number 1 is describe a time when you worked under pressure. This question comes up all the time during job interviews. Now you will notice with this question and all the other competency-based questions, it is asking you to describe a specific time. Do not say what you would do in that situation, but instead give a specific situation where you completed that particular action. Now, this competency-based question is assessing 2 competencies as follows. Number 1, organising skills. That is your ability to prioritise your work against the company's objectives. And it is also assessing time management, which is, of course, your ability to get all your work completed on time and to the required standard. Let me now give you the perfect answer to this competency interview question that uses the STAR method. Here we go. Describe a time when you worked under pressure. During my previous role, our team was tasked with delivering a client project within a week due to an unexpected deadline change. The project typically required 3 weeks to complete. I needed to ensure that the project was delivered on time without compromising quality. I began by breaking the project into manageable tasks and prioritizing them based on deadlines. I delegated responsibilities according to each team member's strengths. To stay organized, I implemented daily check-ins to track progress and address any issues immediately. Unfortunately, on the last day of the project, a co-worker fell ill and was unable to work. To overcome this challenge, I outsourced their work to a qualified online contractor and carefully monitored their work. Despite the challenging timeline, the project was delivered on schedule, exceeding the client's expectations. The experience taught me how to maintain focus under pressure, problem solve, and organize effectively to meet tight deadlines. Competency-based interview question number 2 is: describe a time when you faced a conflict in a team. Now, this question assesses the following 2 competencies. Number 1, collaboration. That is your ability to work closely with co-workers and company departments to achieve the team's and organization's objectives, and it also assesses the competency of conflict resolution. That is your ability and willingness to take ownership of the conflict to achieve a successful outcome. So here is another brilliant example answer that uses the STAR method. Describe a time when you faced a conflict within a team. During a product launch in my previous role, 2 colleagues had a disagreement over the direction of a marketing campaign. One of them wanted to promote the product online, and the other while using traditional offline marketing methods. I needed to mediate the situation and ensure the team worked collaboratively to launch the product successfully. I called for a meeting with both colleagues and provided a neutral space for them to express their perspectives. I acknowledged both points of view and suggested a compromise that integrated the best aspects of both online and offline marketing. To rebuild trust, I emphasized shared goals and organized a follow-up discussion to align expectations. Following the meeting, the conflict was resolved and an effective plan of action was agreed upon, which resulted in a successful product launch. Both colleagues appreciated the resolution process and improved their working relationship moving forward. Competency-based interview question number 3 is: tell me about a time when you demonstrated integrity and professionalism. Now, of course, this question is assessing the 2 competencies of integrity and professionalism. That is, your ability to adhere to the company's rules, policies, and procedures. So you might want to give an example in your answer of when you challenged someone's inappropriate or unacceptable behavior in the workplace. Here is my brilliant example answer. Tell me about a time when you demonstrated integrity and professionalism. During team discussions for an upcoming critical client project, 2 of my co-workers recommended a shortcut that would save the company money. They suggested we outsource a large portion of the project work to online contractors to save time and reduce costs. They argued that the client would not be aware we had outsourced the work. It was my responsibility to make them aware of how dangerous this situation was using effective communication skills. I calmly objected to their proposal. I explained that it was not only unprofessional and unethical to take this approach, but that it also went against the contract we had signed with the client. The client trusted us to do the work based on our experience. Opting to outsource the work could ruin the company's reputation. After listening to my arguments against their proposal, my co-workers agreed it was a bad idea. The project was then delivered on time for the client and to the expected and agreed contract standard. Competency-based interview question number 4 is describe your biggest accomplishment so far. This question is being asked because the hiring manager wants to employ someone who has a track record of success. And this question assesses 2 competencies as follows. Number 1, self-motivation. That is your desire to achieve great things in your work. And number 2, results orientation. That is your desire and passion to get things done for your employer. Here is a brilliant example answer that uses the STAR method. What is your biggest achievement so far? I wanted to help the company increase sales in my previous role. We operated in a highly competitive industry and I wanted us to be the best. My task was to seek ways to take advantage of market opportunities and meet customer demand. After conducting some research, I suggested to my manager that we implement an online customer survey and feedback form that could be sent to customers after each purchase. The form would enable us to obtain valuable customer feedback to help improve service standards and gauge appetite for new products and services. The form would also empower us to ask for online reviews, which would help build trust and loyalty with potential customers. After my manager agreed to implement the form, we started receiving great feedback, ideas and reviews from customers, which all contributed to a 17% increase in sales. Competency-based interview question number 5 is describe the biggest change in the workplace you've had to deal with. Companies and organizations must change periodically to keep up with the needs of their customers and clients. Therefore, the hiring manager wants to offer the job to someone who is adaptable to change and also someone who will embrace it with a positive attitude. So this question assesses the 2 competencies of adaptability and, more importantly, commercial awareness, which is your understanding of how important change is to the success of your employer. Here is a brilliant example answer. Describe the biggest change within the workplace you've had to deal with. In my previous role, a new and inexperienced manager took over the running of our department. The new manager wanted to make some changes to our working practices. I was responsible for supporting the new manager. As a commercially aware employee, I understand how essential change is to a company's success if it is to stay ahead of its closest competitors. I scheduled a meeting with my manager to obtain a brief and asked them what I could do to help implement the change. After receiving instructions and guidance, I went away, worked hard to support the new manager, and encouraged other team members to do the same. Because we all supported the new manager with the changes they wanted to make, the team progressed and improved, and the company outperformed its closest competitors. Competency-based interview question number 6. Describe a time when you disagreed with a supervisor or manager. Do not respond to this question by saying, I would never disagree with my manager because they are in charge and they are always right. that is not the way to answer the question. You must give a specific situation where you challenged your manager or supervisor professionally to achieve a better outcome. So this question assesses two competencies as follows: your confidence to professionally challenge your supervisor or manager, and also the second one of influencing. That is your ability to use reasoned arguments to get your manager or supervisor to change their mind. Here is a brilliant answer that uses the STAR method. Tell me about a time when a supervisor asked you to do something with which you disagreed. In my previous job, I received a call from a long-standing customer who was dissatisfied with a product they had purchased. They requested a refund, but the request was outside of the company's official refund policy. My role was to address the customer's concerns and ensure they remained satisfied with the company while adhering to company policies. However, I also recognise the importance of retaining loyal customers and protecting the company's reputation. I consulted my manager to seek approval for the refund, but they initially declined, citing the policy restrictions. I took a professional approach and calmly explained my perspective. I highlighted the customer's loyalty to the company and the minimal cost of the refund compared to the potential risks of losing the customer's business or receiving a negative review online. I reasoned that this goodwill gesture could help maintain a positive relationship and enhance the company's reputation. After considering my argument, my manager agreed to issue the refund. The customer was very appreciative of the resolution, and they continued their business with us, expressing their gratitude for our understanding and flexibility. Competency-based interview question number 7 is: describe a time when you had to persuade someone to see your viewpoint. So this question assesses the following two competencies. Number 1, critical thinking, because you will therefore have to consider how the other person is going to react in order to persuade them. And the second competency it assesses is persuasion skills, your ability to persuade someone to take your course of action for the benefit of the team. Here is another brilliant answer that uses the STAR method. Describe a time when you had to persuade someone to see your point of view. In my previous role, I was tasked with deciding on a training approach for new hires. I believed a standardized training course was the best solution, as it would ensure consistency across departments and save time in the long run. However, a co-worker preferred a more flexible, personalized method that lacked consistency but was quicker to implement. I needed to persuade my co-worker to see the value in a standardized training course while addressing their concerns about flexibility and customization. I scheduled a one-on-one discussion to understand their perspective fully and shared my rationale for a standardized approach. I highlighted how it could streamline training, reduce inaccuracies, and provide all new hires with equal knowledge and opportunities. To address their concerns, I suggested incorporating optional modules into the standardized course to allow for some level of customization. I also explained how a standardized training approach could be used across different company departments. After our discussion, my co-worker agreed to trial the standardized training with the optional modules included. The program was implemented successfully, reducing onboarding time by 25% and ensuring consistency across all departments. Now, in this next section of the training video, I will tell you where you can instantly download my brilliant STAR method answers to difficult competency-based interview questions. If you want to pass your interview and become a master at answering competency-based interview questions, make sure you watch this next section and download the pack. Here we go. Okay, so there you have it. Brilliant top scoring STAR method answers to difficult competency-based interview questions. The next thing to do to accelerate your learning even further is click the link right now in the top right-hand corner of the video. Head straight through to my website, passmyinterview.com, and you can instantly download those answers I just gave you, plus an additional 26 brilliant responses to difficult competency-based interview questions that use the STAR method. You can have this resource in your inbox literally within 2 minutes from now by clicking that link in the top right-hand corner. Also, please make sure you hit that subscribe button. I am here to help you not just pass every job interview you ever attend, but also negotiate the highest salary and progress throughout your career. I can only do those things if you are subscribed. Please hit the like button because that motivates me to create more great content for you. And don't forget to connect with me on LinkedIn. I have put my LinkedIn link in the description below the video. It is always an honor and a pleasure to connect with like-minded professionals such as yourself. Thank you very much for watching and for supporting my YouTube channel. I wish you a wonderful day.